Cognitive approach. The cognitive approach, also known as cognitive code learning theory, was advocated by cognitive psychologists and applied linguists such as J.B. Carroll and K. Castaigne in the 1960s. Cognitive approach refers to mental activity including thinking, remembering, learning, and using language. It describes how language interacts with cognition, how language forms our thoughts, and the evolution of language parallel with the change in the common mindset across time. Cognitive approach aims to discover why it might be the better way for the acquisition of language in our mind. It highlights how mental process greatly influences behavior and the disparity of learning effects.
The cognitive approach considers the conscious study of language rules as essential to the learning of a foreign language. One of its most important concepts is the meaningful practice. Practice is considered meaningful when the learner understands the rules involved in the practice. Thus, conscious study of grammatical rules is not only allowed, but also considered central to the language learning. The teaching of grammar is deductive in this approach, and also the learner is encouraged and helped to first have a clear understanding of a grammatical rule before they practice and use the rule in a meaningful context. It represents a sharp contrast to the audiolingual method, which relies on the pattern drills as a means of teaching syntax, without explicit explanation of grammatical rules.
The cognitive approach is essentially a theoretical proposal. It did not lead to the development of any teaching method as far as classroom procedures and activities are concerned.
Teacher's role builds on what students already know. So, alam natin yung students, meron ng mga kaalaman yan. So, hindi sapat na yun lang yung alam nila. So, kailangan pa natin i-build yung mga nalalaman nila para mas mahasa pa sila or matuto. Help the students relate yung material themselves, their life experience, and their previous knowledge. So, dito, kailangan makarelate yung mga students sa mga bago nilang natututunan sa life experience nila or sa mga previous knowledge nila. Then avoid rote learning. So ano yung rote learning? Yung rote learning is yung pagpapamemorize. So kaya siya parang ina-avoid, iniiwasan kasi pag sa memorization, mas mabilis itong nalilimutan. Halimbawa kapag nablangko yung student, so wala na, malilimutan niya na yung kinabisado niya. So dapat mas pinapaintindi natin sa students yung lesson, hindi pinapamemorize. Kaya siya iniiwasan.
And lastly, use graphic and procedures to clarify relationships. So it means to avoid misunderstanding.
The student's role in cognitive approach. The first one, the student acquires greater responsibility for their own learning. It means that it is the responsibility to acquire new learning. Next is learn from your own errors. And last is learning new significativo knowledge with prior knowledge.
Now, let's proceed to the advantages and disadvantages. The advantages of cognitive approach is that it is good foundation for elementary level. The graph phonemic can be the best for this level. However, the disadvantages of cognitive learning theory is that it's limited to teacher only. It is a teacher-based learning, so whatever the teacher's knowledge, that is the only thing they can learn.